Hi everyone, Vicki Verley here, Rock and Roll Prophetess, and today we're going to take a look at it is a full moon at 14 degrees of Cancer, down here. There's a moon, 14 Cancer, 14 Capricorn. So it's the sun opposed the moon, as is always with the full moon. But boy, it's sure activating that Uranus-Pluto, and there's the Grand Cross. The Cardinal Cross is getting activated big time, which involves the nodes, involves Uranus, the Uranus-Pluto square. Pluto's in there conjunct with this with the Sun at this time, along with Vesta. And then we've got Uranus, the South Node. This is big. I was gonna talk a lot about this today, because I knew it was getting close. Uranus conjunct the South Node. I started doing some research, but there's much more research that I need to do, and so I actually the next one on the 20th is right on it. It's that day, so that'll be the next one. Will be deep into that, and I found out what it is. It's Uranus does conjunct the South Node about every 14-15 years. And it's every like 7-8 years, up and down. It'll go the South Node, North Node, South Node, North Node. So I actually did a bunch of research, and I still have more to put together. So I'll have a comprehensive, well, whatever. I don't even know what it's going to be, but I'm going to do some more work, and we're going to talk about it more. But so let's look at this reading. We won't talk about it so much today in that reading. Is what I was trying to get at in this reading today. But anyways, yeah. So Sun conjunct Pluto, powerful, 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 powerful energy. This is, Pluto's powerful in itself, and so is the Sun. The combination of the two are just explosive. It's industrious. It's the powers that be. It's big movers and shakers. It's big changes. Oppose the moon. It's the moon is the feminine. The Saturn, which rules Capricorn, and is the masculine. The Sun is the masculine too. So it's the feminine oppose the masculine. Our future path opposed by our past karma here, with the South Node and the North Node. It's activating all the issues that have been going on. I mean, this Cardinal Cross. That's what I should have looked up, right? About where this Cardinal Cross, but we all know, if you've been following these astrology for the last at least year or so, you know that this has just been an ongoing thing that keeps getting activated, and here it is again. So there's this intense, the Cardinal people, they're the doers. The fire people are doers too. Cardinal is kind of hard to categorize for me, but it's Cardinal. It's the beginning. It's the beginning of the seasons. The cardinal ingress is the beginning of all the 4 seasons. So it's the 4 seasons. They're all different from each other, more than like fixed or mutable. I think the cardinal signs are different from each other. The Capricorn is different from Aries and Libra. As I've said many times with the Pluto-Uranus, I feel, if you just look at the animal essence of them, the goat and the ram, what are they going to do? They're going to lock horns. They're going to, square off. It's a square. They're all squaring, which of course then in itself brings about friction, but brings about change. The opportunity for change. And not in a harsh way, like maybe the fixed signs would be, but not too passive, as the mutable signs would be. We've got these zeros here, and we're going to have, the next thing is going to be that 0 Aquarius. We've been having those 0, 0, zeros, but we've got Mercury and Venus conjunct at 0 Aquarius here. So there's a lightness and an energy to that. And Saturn has moved into Sagittarius and is conjuncting Pallas, squaring Neptune, squaring Lilith. There's another T-square going on here in the mutable with Neptune, Lilith, Saturn and Vesta. So we got that energy too. Saturn and Sag, I was going to touch on that a little. Really what I think of is school. And I think that with Saturn, we could reform. school is, its current state of school, or what school has been in the past, it's not relevant anymore. And it's honestly, just frankly, a big waste of time in a lot of cases. Because we don't have to memorize all these facts all the time. Everybody has their, their phone, and we have Google at our disposal at any time. So memorization of a bunch of facts, what could we do if we didn't fill our brain with a bunch of that stuff? What could we do? Specialized, early on specialized, what you're really interested in, which ties into, again, of being who you really are. And I'm not talking about regimented, assigned, okay, like in some communist countries where, okay, you take a test and you're going to be this, but allowing for that, allowing for more individualized learning and specialization earlier on. I remember when I was in school, the one professor told me, I remember, okay, back it up. I went back to college to do graphic design, like maybe 10 years after I'd graduate. Well, here comes the dog, right on cue. But anyways, so yeah, and at that time, I had got up to, I didn't even have to take math in high school. I had algebra, geometry, and trig in junior high, and my math was done. So I had not had math since junior high. And here I am 10 years later of graduating high school, like Saturn return time, going back to school. And I'm going to have to take algebra again. And I know good and well that this algebra is not going to assist me in life at all. I've forgotten all of it because it has never come into play in anything in my real life ever. But the thing about that was, like, I'm trying to take this class and I'm trying to learn the algebra, and I'm fighting myself. I'm fighting myself to learn it because it's like, you're never going to, and it's been whatever, another 15 years or whatever, and I still haven't, or more, whatever. It's been another long time, another span of time has passed, and I still have never used the algebra, and I still don't remember it all. So I was fighting and struggling with myself to have to relearn this, knowing that it was totally irrelevant in anything I was going to be doing. And I think that we have to get rid of a lot of this crap. And even as far as math goes, these calculators, anything can be calculated, I mean, I'm serious. When I was in elementary school, we didn't even have calculators. There was no such a thing. But anyways, so, and then, you weren't allowed to use them, and then you were allowed to use them, and it was, this whole thing. But now it's just, obviously we're going to use them. And why not use them? And why not use Google? Why we don't have to walk around with all this crap in our brain and clogging up our brain that could be used on other things that's more beneficial to whoever. Oh, I was getting to that. One teacher told us that how this works, they fight every year over it. They want their department to be included in the required, courses just to keep them working, just to keep the professors working. Well, that's no way to, influence that's not how we should base our influencing of young minds on, to keep these professors working, forcing people to take these classes. So I think, with Saturn and Sag, that's going to be a lot of that revamping of that. The other thing I was feeling about Saturn and Sag, and still in line with education, is the student loans that these kids are carrying. This is ridiculous. This has got to stop. My kids, and their friends, a lot of them have it. And I saw some of them over the holidays, and I'm just like, well, how many of you vote? They're like, yeah, we vote in the presidential election. Well, these kids, you got to get out there. I know voting, and it's sometimes, a lot of people think, oh, it's just bullshit or whatever, but you got to get out there. If you want to change, that's got to change. That's so unfair for these kids to be straddled with these huge burdens. This Saturn burden energy to get their education. So I think a lot of this could be overhauled during education. What they're forced to learn, is it relevant to anything they're ever going to pursue in life? And secondly, finding ways for it to be accessible and not be starting out life with this huge burden and this huge student loan on their backs. So I think that's a couple of the things. And with Pallas, Pallas Athena, it's always the new ideas, the new, thinking of different ways to do these things, different ways to go about things, new and innovative ways to go about things. And also the fact of, that innovations of, our technology that we are in at this time, because I do relate it to Aquarius a lot. So this is something we're going to address, hopefully, during this time. Also, it's more of religion. You know, Sagittarius, the ninth house in the flat wheel, is religion, higher education, and foreign affairs, foreign people. You know, Saturn, with the advent of all this technology, where it's a small world and it's getting smaller every day. And we're going to have to get along with each other. We're going to have to get along with these foreigners and these people that are different than us, you know, and we're just going to have to do it. And you can't be, oh, it's those guys over there, and we're, you know, no, we're all here. We're all together, and we're all connected. Well, we always were anyway, but now it's, you know, people in general, who most people are more in their head, you know, we are through the internet and through the technology and everything. You know, Saturn, it squares off with Neptune, Pisces, and squares off with Lilith. So again, that could be the ties to the religion, I would say. You know, there's going to be some changes in the religion and upheavals in the religions. And it's all of us. You know, and it, you know, it's cool. And I was raised Catholic, and it's cool, this Pope, how he's doing everything. Hopefully it would be like that. More come from within. You know, he's already a Catholic, and he's the Pope, and he's working from within of his, you know, he's not trying to, you know, go against, start a religious war or force his beliefs on anybody else, you know, by force. He's being more inclusive, but he's working within the religion itself, you know, and that may be the best way. You know, the more you tell somebody they're wrong, the more they're going to recoil against you and insist they're right, and puts them on the defensive, right? So it's got to, you know, in a Neptunian way, you know, it's got to be more Neptunian. It's got to be more coming from within, possibly. You know, that might be the way that this is going to have some success. You know, or avoid bloodshed and everything else that's going on, you know, in religious wars. A lot of crazy things can happen. Excuse me one sec, I have to get a drink of water. Yeah. What was else I going to look at? Oh, Chiron is in the mix, is trining the new moon. That's what I wanted to say too. Yeah, so Chiron is trining. So there's this element of the healing energy again. But, you know, Chiron a lot is, again, the old wounds, I always feel, you know, so, and, you know, these religious wars, these are old wounds, especially, like, you know, the Holy Lands. Is there ever going to be, you know, they've been fighting over this stuff for whatever, hundreds of years for sure, maybe thousands, you know, it's just, and it's these old, built-up wounds and resentments. So, you know, full moon, besides bringing things to a head, which is another aspect of what the full moon does, and with Pluto there, you know, there could be some kind of big thing going on like that, or maybe some big revolt, you know, with Pluto, like big demonstrations or revolts, and possibly involving some religious things. But also, with the full moon at its best, is going to bring enlightenment. So yeah, enlightenment is ultimately the goal, you know, here. And besides that, we've got Sun, Pluto, and Vesta. We didn't get into that. Yeah, so Vesta is that the home and the family, the hearth, our home environment, our, you know, I would say Vesta in Capricorn is more tied to the old traditions. You know, our home, our family, our line of our traditions, our paternal line, our ancestors. And there's a rigidness of Capricorn energy. There is. There's a rigidness. You know, those goats, they're pretty scruffy. They're pretty scrappy. If you look at, they'll eat a tin can. So, you know, they're pretty, they're not easily deterred or you know, discouraged from their goal or from what they've set their goals on or their sights on. And then with Vesta, you know, in a Cancer moon too, you know, you bring in the element of sentimentality or something. You know, you have sentimental ties to my family traditions and my You know, this is I'm picking up, like, I want to say, like, you might be dishonoring somebody by, you know, going in a different way. People might feel like they might feel like they want to try something new and go in a new direction. You know, maybe with Saturn going into Sag, we want to take that higher road. But, well, I was, you know, my family would disown me, or my family, I would be dishonoring them if I did that. And I'm feeling like shame and oppression around it. And that's kind of Saturn too. That could be some Saturn energy for sure. And Pluto, Scorpio stuff too. Because Pluto, Scorpions can lay some shame and guilt on somebody, or like hold that resentment, grudge, that kind of vibe, you know, I don't know. So the power, you know, wanting to have power, that's another common thing there. So there's that. But where's the new? Well, the news are the zeros. The news are the Mercury, the Venus. Through Mercury, through, well, it's both, you know, it's the reason and the heart. Mercury is the mind, Venus is the heart. Mercury is the mental, Venus is, I know Venus rules Libra too, but I go immediately with Venus with Taurus. Maybe because I'm kind of earthy, you know, I'm watery, earthy, maybe I go in that direction. But I think of Venus as more down to earth, even though Libra's an air sign. But I'm feeling like I want to say this, that, you know, Aquarius energy, Uranian energy. Uranus is involved in the square here. Uranus is about to conjunct that south node. That's going to be some major stuff. The thing that I'm really researching is other times, and the last time it happened in Aries that I can find is 1847. But I went ahead and just in Aries, but then I went ahead and I was looking up dates when they happened in, you know, just happened in whatever sign. Aries conjunct the south node, Aries conjunct north node. And I want to do a little research on what was happening in the world and stuff. There was some, I did some of it. I was looking at it briefly. I'm going to get more deep into it, but there was some like scientific stuff, space stations being launched and things like that. So that was pretty cool. But I'm going to really get deep into it. And but what I want to say just for now is, this is totally about releasing from the past, I feel. You know, but without all the statistics and everything. You know, the South Node is the past, your soul past, your past lives, and it's also your, you know, our past as a collective, as the human race, or whatever we want to call ourselves here. And Uranus is awakening, remembering, freedom from the whatever, the status quo, being released. So there's a lot of this breaking free energy, and Aries, in the sign of Aries, going in my own direction. I'm going to go in my direction. I'm not going to please you. I'm going to please myself. And I'm going to do what I came here to do. And I just feel like there's going to be a lot of remembering of past lives. Or people are going to be getting insights, you know, and it could be a dream, or it could be something. But, you know, as I've said in the past life video, it could just be anything. You don't have to be looking for a miracle, you know, an angel doesn't have to come down and, you know, whatever. You know, it doesn't have to be some grand thing like this. There's all sorts of crazy everyday miracles that happen all the time. And it could be, you know, just a time period you're drawn to, or people coming into your life that you just click with, or have a immediate reaction to. Doesn't have to be a click with them. Maybe you just like, ugh. You get, you know, you don't want to be around them, as I said. But if you're interested in that, you can watch the other video I did on that in the broadcast from the universe. But stuff like that could be happening. Click, click, synchronicity, Uranian energy, out of nowhere, through electronic media, through the television, your computer, your phone, you know, whatever, Instagram, you know, see things that remind you, or oh, I just like that. I always loved that era. Or watch a movie, or a movie that you love. Like Braveheart was shown again. I always loved that movie, but I know I must have lived in that era or something similar. So if you have a movie that you love from another era, set in a different time zone, or a book, then probably you were lived there. And if you're, when you're remembering those kind of things showing up, the people that are showing up are probably connected to that era too. That's another thing that's kind of cool. Yeah, well, but anyways, this Grand Cross, kind of sum it up real quick here before we run out of tape here. Symbolic of the change, big changes. Symbolic of, we can do it through confrontation or through more understanding. And with the Cancer, the full moon itself, it is in the sign of Cancer. So nurturing, the Cancer is there, but they're also very moody. But just in general, the highest thing of the Cancer energy is the mother, the nurturer, the healer, the feminine, the divine feminine, for sure, the moon. And so it's time for a change. It's happening. We're in it, baby. I mean, this cross has been going on. We are in it. And this is just a full moon. Things could come to a head, but also we could maybe have some understanding. And ultimately, we will have healing of the old wounds. I mean, I think that's ultimately it. And then the Saturn, with the palace. This is all... I'm feeling like education is really the strongest part of it. Before we go, I wanted to, a couple of things. Anybody knows an app developer, because here I go again, just like learning the algebra. Why in this day and age do I have to get this book and do all these calculations and mark this up with all the transits I want to watch and everything? There has to be an app. I'm fighting myself having to set my book up for 2015, because it's just like, this is ridiculous that I'm still doing this, in the year 2015. For a long time, I was just like, well, technology can do it. I do rely on technology to run all the charts and stuff, but then I still mark them all in here and there's no app or astrology app that does anything like what I needed to do. And why am I dragging out my old ripped up ephemeris with the tape on that thing, to look up stuff, do research. And I have a detailed idea of a great astrology app. And none of the apps out there do anything like this. And I have it all drawn out. I have what I wanted to do, how I wanted to function. I have a graphic arts background. I can do a lot of the grunt work and do all the optimizing of the images and the layouts and everything. I just need somebody who's like a code junkie, because that's the part that I get a headache and can't handle. Okay. That would like to collaborate with me. And for you astrologers out there, once you have this app, you'll be like, how did I ever live without this? Because there's going to be so many cool functions and everything. You can have it on your tablet or phone. And on the topic of the app developer, I also would like to put together a tarot app, with my interpretations and everything. And I could provide audio files if needed, that would be probably really simple. But I'd really like to do this astrology thing. And I think with Saturn going into Sag, it's maybe time to try to tackle it. It'll be a big project. It's going to be a lot of work on everybody's part who's involved in it. But I just want to do it, and it's just, I'm fighting myself. I can't get through doing this book here. Why am I doing this in the year 2015? Why am I still screwing around with this paper book, here? It should all be on an app. So I'd love to hook up with somebody on that level, if anybody knows anybody out there. I was going to tell you guys, I might run out of time before I can talk about all the sites, but I was going to give you guys a sneak peek too of my deck. I've been working on it. These are just a few that I did. Well, I put this one, this was the very first one I did, was this hawk. And I was thinking I had to put all the detail in and right away, and then I decided what I'll do is I'll just draw the main character, then I'll take it into Illustrator and really clean it up and color it, or I may print it out and do it watercolor. But it's going to have the meaning on the bottom and then the reverse meaning on the top. It's real stylized. I'm almost done with the pencil drawings. I've got over 30 done. And this spiral of life is going to be a continuous theme in all of the cards. So that's the dude. The dude, the hawk. That was like the first one I did really detailed. Now I'm not doing it such detail. I'm doing it more, because I don't have to draw those circles in. I can do that once I get it into Illustrator. This is a skunk, and then of course the element of him is going to be his tail, as the, the swirly thing is always going to be there. This is the beaver. This one's a little too realistic and not as stylized as I might like. I might have to put a little more stylization. But I'm going to do his whole tail and those swirly things. And I'm feeling like I want to do that swirly stuff too, because then you can like intuitively, it'll have the meaning on the top and the meaning on the bottom. But then intuitively, maybe you can tune into and maybe get some visions and stuff from those. This is the lion. And again, I'm just doing the basic drawing. I'm going to clean it up and do the details in Illustrator. This is a woodpecker. And he's got the swirly things in the tree, and they'll be in here. It'll be much cleaner. I'm doing the main character and kind of a rough layout, and then I'm going to take it in the computer and clean it up real good. And this one I think is the fox. Yeah, the fox. And his big tail is going to be swirling through here, and then I'm going to have berries, because I think foxes eat berries for some reason. I don't know where I got that idea. Yeah, and I'm letting them, because it's only going to be either 44 or 47. It's going to be volume 1, and leave it open to maybe do a second volume at some point in time. But I'm letting them kind of come forth and see who's going to make it into the deck, you know. And if I see these different animals wherever, you know, or then that's the one. I had a crazy experience with this hawk, and I may talk about it in a video or not, but that's what the first drawing was. And then, you know, I keep going, and as whoever shows up, then they're the next one that I'm going to draw in the deck. It's pretty cool how it's happening like that. So, and yeah, real quick, let's go over the other stuff. You know, of course, if you go on my main rock and roll page, it's got all the good stuff here, all the tarot scopes, astrology, the broadcast from the universe. Click on that about section, and bam, you got all my stuff here. How you get a hold of me. Tapestry of Life mandalas, which on that order page is everything for the time being. You know, it's all the stuff you can order, all the readings, the private reading, the 20-minute, half hour, the reports, and at the bottom, very bottom, is make a donation. So if you like these videos, I appreciate that. Don't forget about the Tarot in the Modern World book. It's very inexpensive, easy to understand tarot interpretations. Thanks everybody who has been giving me reviews. I got quite a few. I just noticed that when I looked at it today. It's awesome. Thank you. And thank you all for commenting on my channels and videos and liking and sharing and the whole thing. I really, really appreciate you and everybody who's donated to the videos. And I want you to remember that you are love and beauty incarnate, and I'll speak to you soon. Happy New Year.